The opening seconds to the original 1986 release of The Legend of Zelda are a masterpiece. So much so, I would venture to say it is the greatest opener to any franchise in gaming history. If you are like me, you are used to the more cinematic Zelda game experiences. We want visually gripping images of Link gliding off cliffs or engaged in hot combat with the many fantasy creatures of Hyrule, especially with the 40th anniversary here with Ocarina of Time coming out on the Switch 2 in a couple months. There's a lot of hype right now. The original, though, the game that came out in 1986, it feels jarring and perhaps a little subdued to some folks. To those who weren't around in the 1980s, it is not very easy to wonder how anyone could have sunk 40 or more hours into this. I'll do my best, though, to unpack what that magic was back in the day, and maybe talk a little bit about what studios can do to recapture the magic of the 1986 Zelda. And I might even talk a little bit about some of the studios that are doing a pretty good job highlighting what they do so that we can continue to get more good magical vagueness. But before I dive in, I just want to introduce myself, guys. My name is Ian. I love to write essays, and this is a channel where I talk about the essays that I have written. So if gaming or art is your thing, feel free to like this video and subscribe to the channel. You know how it goes. If you can't do that, at the very least, type up a comment, push send. It helps bolster the video and it allows more people to watch it, but it also allows you to be part of the dialogue. You'll be able to type something up. I'll be able to read it, hopefully respond to you, and we can continue this train going so that we can talk about more awesome stuff and improve our emerging game industry, right? Because we want a better gaming industry. We could talk about it. So thank you for that. Let's get back into the video. So developers at Nintendo in 1986 wanted the player to dream up their own version of Zelda. The Zelda fans watching this video know just how vast the series lore has become. There are intricate backstories to the creatures and places. Guides have been written and players have sifted through 40 years of game dialogue and environmental storytelling clues to fill in the gaps. There are diverging timelines. There's even a creation myth chronicling how 3 golden goddesses created the world and left behind the Triforce. By the way, if anyone can type up the names of these 3 mystical golden goddesses in the comments without Googling them, I will personally reward you with 15 epic brownie points. And you know, I keep my word, so let's keep our eyes open for that. However, in 1986, players basically booted their cartridge of The Legend of Zelda on their Nintendo Entertainment System and were met with only 3 storytelling bites. 1, some jerk named Ganon took 2 pieces of the Triforce. 2, a princess named Zelda scattered the 3rd piece, and fragments are all scattered around Hyrule. And 3rd, it's basically up to you to save the day. That's it. What even is the Triforce? It doesn't really tell us, other than the fact that it's some powerful treasure. It's kind of like the suitcase from Pulp Fiction. You know how John Travolta opens the suitcase and there's the light shining on his face? That's what made the launch of Zelda so special. Look at some of the TV commercials Nintendo ran promoting Zelda in the 1980s. No epic portrayal of Link slicing through a bokoblin, no epic showdown with Ganon, just a blank canvas for our brains to do its own magic and create Hyrule itself. The gaming mechanics for combat back in 1986, frankly, were not very different from what the Atari 2600 was doing and what other Nintendo Entertainment System games were doing. Zelda innovates the whole industry with endless exploration, though. It has discovery and, of course, the freedom to imagine the story for ourselves. That's been the soul of the franchise to this day, even if the lore has expanded quite considerably. Simply put, Zelda is like a book. The magic of Zelda is no different than enjoying a character in a book and then getting upset when the movie casts someone you never imagined. We're looking at you, Christopher Nolan. But here at Queen Mabs, we don't just complain about what the gaming industry needs to step up and do. We highlight the few times the industry gets it right, so they can continue to get it right? Some games have used vagueness to their advantage. Take 2016's Abzu. The game is an immersive scuba diving simulation that's set in the underwater ruins of a lost civilization. What happens in the world of Abzu and what happened to that sprawling place that's so mysterious and fun to explore? Well, the game doesn't exactly have dialogue, so it's kind of up to us to map it out. The studio behind Abzu, Giant Squid, found success employing the same technique to Sword of the Sea last year. It is easy to talk about them, and it's easy to get kind of lost in what the developers need to start doing, but all developers need to do right now is to be intentionally vague. There is even a word for this in art studies: indeterminacy. We do not always need the answers to every question in the story building, right? Give us the world. Give us some breadcrumbs as to what this world used to be or what it possibly might become. And then give us the reins to fill in the gaps. That's how we want it. That's how the best stories do it, especially in gaming. Elden Ring is a great example. From Software hired fantasy author George R.R. Martin to write the background lore of the lands in between, but we players only get to envision it through the regal drama that's sort of left kind of sprinkled around the kind of barren landscapes after it's been completely decimated. These games convert our minds into storytellers. I suppose we will also have to use our mind to finish A Song of Ice and Fire because, yes, George R.R. Martin isn't finishing the series anytime soon. That's a story for another day. I have a feeling that the developers at Nintendo still have this going for Zelda. After all, they still have basically not given us a definitive timeline position for Breath of the Wild. That's just another example of giving the players license to interpret things how we like. And I'm pretty confident that Nintendo is going to do a pretty good job with Ocarina of Time in the future. But of course, there's that vagueness that still needs to be there. There still needs to be space for us as players to psychologically create stories in our minds, just like we did in 1986. And that's really all I have for you today. Do you know any other games that mastered the art of environmental storytelling and ambiguity? Let me know in the comments and have a good day. Thanks for checking in.